What is up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Live Locks presented by Scores and Odds. If you haven't already signed up for it yet, making bad life choices, go on over to scoresandodds.com. Get signed up where you get access to picks for me, Meansy, STL, Noto, all the greats. Plus, you get access to this nice little prop shopping tool where you can see exactly what RG projects and where the best line is for each individual prop. Like Steph Curry, we can see we project him for 27.73, and the best line on his over is minus 120 over at DraftKings. Plus, you get access to Grant's Action Lounge, where literally every single bet I have on this show gets thrown in there, and you can get the best odds before they end up moving. So go get signed up. We're going to be breaking down some NBA, some MLB, and a little bit of hockey. I'm joined by someone who I trust a lot, who's in the Grant's Action Lounge, and I talk to most days about sports betting. How you doing over there, Smartwater?
Doing good. Yeah, we don't talk quite as before. It was wild when back in the NBA days and regular season. I mean, we were firing 50 bets a day. The good old. I mean, literally what? Maybe average 25, 30 minimum a day. Something silly.
Yeah, it was somewhere around. I think I used to bet 1,000 units a month.
It was something silly. Which
Yeah,
I mean, averaging 250 bets a day. Or I meant a week, give or take, is an insane amount. So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
not quite that time of the year now, but there's still a lot of money to be made. I'm betting. I'm doing less. Less. I know a lot about this and more trusting Vegas sharp people, models, and stuff during this time of the year, especially with baseball. But that doesn't mean that there's not money to be made.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing with baseball, at least in the past, it's always been my highest ROI sport by a wide margin. This year hasn't gone as great, but it'll turn around. But it's just I can't get nearly as many bets out a day. So, like the amount of money I can get out there, and then every single site has limited me to oblivion when it comes to pitcher props. So most day, like McClanahan, I have $76 on that bet. Kirby, I was able to go through multiple different sites and get 300. Buxton, I was able to get $63 total on his. So yeah, I just kind of I did so well in baseball last year that I'm just fully limited.
Honestly, though, you should be happy that you still have those limits because, especially on sites like I don't know, like FanDuel, for example, they go in by decimal points. So like for some people it'll be unlimited, other people they'll allow 500, other people they'll allow 50, and they just move the decimal point based on. So like I watch somebody who live bets and he's limited, but if he's limited to 500 on FanDuel, I'm limited to 50. And it just moves the decimal point. And it's, man, right now, the biggest struggle I have is not winning. It is just getting action that's actually worth investing time into sports betting.
So FanDuel, I max out at any bet. The most I can possibly win is $100.
I was going to say, yeah, that sounds about right. It's FanDuel. It's sad when the most action I can get on FanDuel is the boost because they allow $50 max and they sometimes don't limit me. That's like about where I'm at on FanDuel right now.
Yeah, well, it's how things go. It's why I do this because eventually I'm just going to be cut off entirely from all of them, and we'll see if I can figure out other ways to do things. And new sports books open up. I think Circa is one that is going to let me bet a ton, but I just haven't gotten onto there yet. But yeah, I got a decent amount of bets here. That didn't have a great day yesterday. Ended up losing a little bit of money back down to I think minus 1 unit on the month, but just hasn't been a great month. It happens. We crushed in March, did really well in February. Well, we got money to make today. A few of these bets up at the top: Flames over 3.5 goals, Jaylen Brown under 6.5 assists, Jalen Brunson over or 3+ made threes. All those were made yesterday. They moved like 60 points. So don't bother with them now. But let's start off with some hockey. I've just got 2 bets, and I think you were on the same ones. Johnny Gaudreau over 3.5 total shots on goal. Zach Hyman over 2.5 total shots. Gaudreau is over at DK. You can still get it plus 100. And Hyman's over at minus 150 at Caesars. You were on both those, right?
Yep, I have both of those. I'm just happy that you said their names so I didn't have to. because I had no idea how to pronounce his name. But this year, or at least recently, I have been on a massive heater since moving into this new house when I could really focus. And I don't know anything about hockey. I used to follow it a lot back when I was a kid. Now I don't know anything, but the shots seem to be one of the softest markets out right now. So I am blindly trusting sharper ways that we get our information. And so far, hockey has been unbelievable.
Yep. No, I mean, I'm up like 10 plus units over just the first round and a half of playoffs. Like, it's been ridiculous. And yeah, I mean, you are both following the same thing. We just look at offshore sports books, find drastic discrepancies, and there's huge discrepancies, like you said, on shots on goal. But do you want to start off with baseball or basketball?
I don't think I have any basketball right now. So if you want to do your basketball, and then we can kind of just crush all the other ones.
Okay, Dorian Finney-Smith over 1.5 steals plus blocks, plus 130 over at Caesars. Really simple. He hasn't been hitting it recently. That's why there's plus 130 odds instead of minus 110 odds over the course of the season. He averages, I think, 1.6 blocks plus steals. Same thing with Clay, over 1.5 blocks plus steals. Has not hit it so far in this series. You're getting it plus 140, or he hit it the first game. He's actually gotten in 8 of the last 12 games historically over the course of his career. He's right at about 1.5 blocks plus steals per game. He's going to play 40 minutes if this game ends up staying close. And then Luka, over 34.5 points. We know that he's not going to pass in the fourth quarter. So if this game's close, he's taking every single shot in the fourth quarter. He's been hitting this a decent amount whenever any game stays close, which hasn't happened a ton. But 34.5, big number, minus 110 on DK or minus 108 on FanDuel. If you want to bet there, solid line. But yeah, we can just break right into baseball. First one, I have Shane McClanahan under 7.5 strikeouts. He's actually hit this at a pretty decent clip so far this season, but it's just a high number. He's not going to keep his 36.7% K rate that he's had. I know it's a high strikeout matchup going up against the Marlins, but line seems a little bit too high to me. Did you end up hitting that one?
I don't have that one. I've debated. I'm looking at some of the stuff right now. I don't see a lot of value on it right now. The only thing is I see on Barstool that you can get the under at plus 106.
Yeah, I got it plus 110.
So I think almost every book right now that I'm seeing has I'm not seeing value except for if you can get it in the pluses. So I see a lot of minus 115, minus 110. I think that's about where the line should be, or at least that's what sharps are saying. So if you can I think there is still some value if you can find it in the pluses.
Yep, and Barstool's where I hit it. I got it plus 110. Just missed plus 115 by a few seconds. Dylan Cease, 9+ strikeouts over at FanDuel, plus 152. That's the alt line. He's had 9 in 4 out of his last 5 games. He's just been ridiculous, and the matchup is not great going up against Boston, but Boston hasn't been that good so far this season. They're not striking out at a huge rate, but Cease, it really doesn't matter, sitting with a 37% K rate. Like, the alt line offered some value. I think it's moved already since then, but overall, decent overall line.
Yeah, I toyed with that one. I really like when the model that I use and Sharp offshore books agree, and they're kind of split on this one. Cease, they have about minus 127 on the over, and then I have a massive under for Cease in the model that I use. I think the model, I mean, it's just a bat for everyone, available. You can get Cardi's picks on SAO and Roto Grinders. Obviously, the bat is available for making your DFS lineups. I'll go into the bat a little bit later as well with one of the Jordan Montgomery ones, but pretty funny. I was laughing today with Cardi. First purchase I ever made in DFS, any money, was on Fantasy Insiders. 2014 was the bat. The first product I've ever bought, and he spent money on for DFS was all the way back then. So long time ago, I've been using the bat, and I think that it gives a lot of respect to Boston, and maybe that's due, maybe it's not, but right now I don't have it.
I mean, the back generally goes off of a lot of historical data and generally regresses more towards the mean. So a guy like Cease, who's getting a huge amount of strikeouts, because I mean, I reference the bat a lot and look at the bat a lot, but you'll see it on a lot of guys that have massive, massive K outputs, like Shane Bieber, the year that he, I think, won the Cy Young, consistently had the bat had it on the under almost every single time and he hit the over at like a 70% clip. So it tends to regress more towards the mean, which is what a lot of projection systems do. So yeah, that's kind of why you see with a lot of high strikeout pitchers, them showing smaller numbers. Like,
so here's a question for you. Let's just say FanDuel, it's at minus 124. I think that's totally fine. There's actually a little bit of value there. So limited. FanDuel is kind of useless. I'm seeing it at an 8.5 plus 115. Do you like plus 115 better than maybe like a minus 150 sort of line?
No, I have the over at plus 152. That's why I like at 8.5. That's why I like the line.
Okay.
Yeah, like the main thing was it's not that I expect him to get 9+. It's the fact that it's a plus 152. Why it's such a good line. It's when you find drastic outliers like that where the odds. I mean, look at Jalen Brunson, my 3+ 3-pointers prop. I'm going to check what's all the way down to now. Like, it's not that I think he's going to get 3 threes. It's that the line was off pretty heavily. And we look at it now, and Jalen Brunson, let's see, down to 240. And it was down to 210 for a little bit. 240, I still think offers a little bit of value, but 270 is a pretty huge difference when you're getting 30 points of juice there extra. So that's I mean, it's kind of like Shane McClanahan. Like you said, if we're getting at plus 110 odds, if this is truly a coin flip, which I believe it is, plus 110 is projected 5% ROI. Minus 105 is a negative 2.5 projected ROI. It's 15 points of juice. So looking at that, generally, like 5 to 10 to 15 points of juice makes all the difference in the world.
Did you get that? Well, I mean, this entire thing is just about odds, right? I mean, What we do is all about odds. So that line, did you get that at FanDuel?
McClanahan, I got that at Barstool.
Okay. The Dylan one.
Yeah, I got that at FanDuel, and so I think that's
FanDuel is allowing me $13.33 on that line. So unfortunately, I can't. I'm gonna bet it with you, but that's what I mean by like the higher the odds, like plus 150, the less they allow us to bet. So unfortunately, I can only get $13 down on that, but I'm going to ride it with you because I like all the reasoning. I just wish that it was worth actually caring about the outcome.
No, it's a pain. Got some sold and base bets, and I know that you have some too. Syndergaard gives up the most stolen bases in the league by a wide margin. And when Eli White's line comes out, I wonder if it's out yet. When his line comes out, no, still not out. I don't think they're going to release it. I'll bet that. But Adolis Garcia to get a stolen base plus 430 over at Superbook. I think it's plus 420 over at DraftKings, and Marcus Semien to get a stolen base plus 580. It's, I think, plus 550 over at DraftKings. Just bad overall lines. And you don't have Superbook over in Tennessee, do you?
No, we do not.
Yeah, so Superbook only limits you. Doesn't matter who you are. They will just flat out only allow you $100 per prop. Every single prop. So that's why I have it on there. And then
sadly, that would be very good for me. That would be some of the most action that I'm allowed anywhere. That's more than any site besides Caesar right now. So
no, DK, I think it's because my rep takes care of me. Still allows me a bunch of money. Maybe it helps with all my fantasy play. I assume that does some stuff, but yeah, I don't understand. Plus, I do a lot of live betting, which they have huge margins on. Yeah, like even Caesar's never limited me before they kicked me off. But it's because I hit so many of their boosts, which they count as parlays. So if you hit their boost constantly, they raise your odds because they think you're just betting parlays. And that's how their system takes it because it's old and not fully not the most advanced system. Plus, I used to hit a bunch of round robins in order to get more Caesar's points to get status over there because they go off of what you can potentially win. But in any case, what are the stolen? I know you have a few stolen base ones. That
I have
you
the
like.
ones that you mentioned. I think anytime Syndergaard's on the mound, it's the books haven't fully adjusted to the odds. I also just took some of the top ones from the bat. Story plus 750, Tommy Pham 1200, Tim Anderson 750, and Buxton 850. I tend to just like to take some of the top high odds stuff on the bat and just kind of get a little bit of upside daily. And so those are just the ones. I don't have any strong takes on them, but Story, Pham, Anderson, Buxton, if you're looking to get some plus 750 and better odds when it comes to stolen bases today.
Yeah, no, I agree. Next bet I got is a few on George Kirby. So George Kirby, fantastic in the minors. 36%, 34% K rate in double A so far this season. Has not fully had it in the majors so far, but he faced Boston and he faced another tough team. The one decent
and Tampa, if I recall.
Tampa, well, he faced someone else. It was Boston, the Mets, and then Tampa. In Tampa, he had 7 strikeouts.
Yep.
So he's going up against the A's, who are one of the worst hitting team. Actually, they are the worst hitting team in the entire majors. This guy has fantastic fastball, great stuff, and yeah, he doesn't walk anyone. So going up against Oakland, he's a guy that fastball, slider, changeup. So it's unfortunate that he's going to be facing a team that's going to platoon out a lot, but his changeup and curveball are both pretty solid. They strike out, not a huge rate depending on who's in the starting line, but still a decent amount, and they are not patient. I have over 4.5 strikeouts. It's plus 105 over DK, plus 114 over at Superbook, and then over 15.5 outs, which you are the one that pointed me out on this. I got it plus 104 on Caesars. I think you got it plus 110 over at DK.
Yeah, so the model in Vegas are a little bit split on the strikeouts for him, and I don't think it's a bad one at all. I just don't know if I feel super confident either way. But everything that you just said leads me to believe that he can have a great a solid outing and get through innings for them. Right? He doesn't walk people. If he strikes out people, that's awesome. I think that one for me, I just liked a lot. As far as I wasn't sure, I wanted to get action on him. I feel like there's value with him, and I think that one I just liked. I just felt better than the strikeouts with.
Yeah, I bet both. I just want more money on the line. I'm a Seattle fan, so I want to see him do well too. So there's that. Let's see. I think I have one more bet. Yeah, Byron Buxton to hit a home run at. So if you're on. It was at plus 275 on Bet Rivers. So they currently have a 25% profit boost up to $25. I use that because they weren't going to give me much extra. But Buxton is going up against Bo. I can't even remember his last name, prospect for Detroit. The guy doesn't have good stuff versus righties. Like, he's been awful. Like, huge reverse splits, 278 ISO, 45% fly ball rate, 45% hard contact rate. And Buxton, obviously one of the best hitters in the league, 301 ISO versus righties so far this season, hitting everything out of the ballpark. To hit home run, 275 is not a big number. I don't care.
When it comes to, I think I'm pretty sure, like you said, that was your last one. I have a few. We're on a lot of the same bets. A few different ones that I have. I'll start with Jordan Montgomery. This is one where I had a long talk with Cardi today about it. I said, you mentioned Seattle. This is where my head was kind of going at this whole time. You like to root for the teams. As you can see, I'm a Yankees fan. So anytime there's a chance to bet on the Yankees, I often take it. It is what it is. I'm not saying that's sharp or anything. But so I was very much, I don't understand why both sharp offshore books love Montgomery's over. It's the number one in the bat today. And I was just trying to figure out. So I contacted him, and here are a few factors that he put into why they like it a lot. And I think this could make some strong points. Bill Miller profiles as an extreme pitchers umpire. So is expected to be umping behind the plate. If anyone knows Cardi in the bat, he loves a good umpire. He loves weather, and he
specifically loves Bill Miller, who is the best pitchers umpire in the league.
So you're talking about that. Projected catcher is Trevino, who is just an elite framer combined with Miller. Yankee Stadium, I don't know if a lot of people realize this, but ranks number 7 in the league for strikeouts. So I don't know if people fully realize that, whether if that's the Yankees. I mean, the Yankees aren't really striking out at some massive clip this year, but I mean, maybe historically they kind of have always struck out a lot. High air density is strongly correlated with less offense. 4th highest elevation neutral air density of the day. And then he says that Montgomery has just been unlucky with his strikeouts this year, notching 7.14 K per 9, where his true talent is actually a lot closer to 9. So that's
got a 14% swinging strike rate and only a 19% K rate. That's not sustainable.
Yeah, and I mean, the numbers are there. You can see that he went from, again, I'm a Yankee fan. He went from 5 pitches to 4 pitches this year, and now he's throwing his sinker at a much higher clip. I can't remember the 5th pitch that he got rid of, but you can see that his contact. So my under, why I was concerned with the over was he's getting a lot of contact. It's good. It's soft contact though. He's elite. Baseball Savant has him at the 81 percentile, which is very good. And then also they're just simply not letting him go a lot of pitches. Twice this year he has maxed out at 86 pitches, which is the most. Which just simply, isn't a lot at this frame. But with all of that being said, with Vegas and the model, it's just one of those things where I'm going to trust it. So I was debating 4.5 at a massive like minus 170 or something. But I found a weird line I even had to ask you about on Win, which I've noticed that they've been doing a little bit more often now. I see a few pitchers. They just simply have 5.
Yes.
Yeah, you can discuss this because I think it's worth touching on.
Yeah, so it's just when you go with whole numbers and you don't get the hook there. So 4.5, 5.5 is 5 plus the hook. 5 doesn't have a hook. It has a lower hold percentage because obviously, like the hold is just what they're holding on both sides, and the hold is artificially decreased whenever you have a number that might end up hitting. So he's going to hit 5 strikeouts roughly, 17, 20% of the time, meaning that in that case, the sportsbook gets nothing because they're making money because if they have minus 110 on both sides, 1,100 comes in on one side, 1,100 comes in on the other side. They make $100 no matter what. So with a whole number like 5, when that comes in, 20% of the time they're decreasing their overall ROI by 20% because they aren't going to get any money when that happens. So yeah, sportsbooks generally don't do it. But they did it for this one, which is not a bad thing to take advantage of.
Yeah, it was minus 125 that I got it at, so I felt really good with that, with a chance of just getting your money back. I have Sonny Gray over 5.5. Brandon Drury to get a hit at minus 160. Again, that's another just a bat play. A big one that just came in that I bet Pablo Lopez over 5.5. And the main reason why I hit this was the sharpest book in the world, in my opinion. I don't know if we drop names or whatever. Has it at minus 192. And whenever I see huge lines like that, minus 192, and it's sticking, it's not just like a random huge, whatever comes in. And it's stuck now for a half hours and all of that. Well, actually, upon refreshing, almost every book is now 6.5. Like for example, DraftKings is minus 135 at 6.5. So I have Pablo Lopez at over 5.5 at right around the same thing, just a full strikeout lower. So I don't know if I like it at 6.5 over 135. I'll kind of let you decide that, but yeah, that's one that I just fired right.
6.5 is a little bit too high.
Yeah. So I feel great about getting that at 5.5 at the same odds that 6.5 has it at. And then let me see, Brandon Drury. And then one thing that I've been doing a lot lately, and this is simply just going to Vegas and going to again, I use the bat for a lot of things. My process is very simple: find a very good model, find very sharp offshore books, and do stuff like that. I've been doing a lot of first half money lines, and they've really been good. Smaller sample sizes, of course, but I have Houston first half money line. Now the odds are getting up there. I think it's over 200 now, but those have been really good for me. And oftentimes the first half stuff, when you start getting like strong starting pitchers and stuff, it seems that there is value there, and the bat really likes a lot of the first half money
I
line.
can never find the first half money lines. There's so many darn bets.
There's so many. Yep. So I have been doing a lot of those and to a very high win rate.
Where do you find the first half money lines on what's it called on DraftKings?
So on DraftKings, go in there now. Let's just see. You would go to Cincy, and then you would just go to for these ones. Let me see. I always innings probably, and then first 5 innings money line. So just go all the way to the right to the innings tab, and then you'll see first 5 innings.
Nice.
So this is actually a great way to often get either a better line than them winning, especially when there's a strong starting pitcher. For example, if you have like Garrett Cole or somebody going, you often can get a better line than the full game, which makes sense. But I understand why that's the case, but I'm finding that there's a lot more value in the first 5.
Yeah, I mean, most people. I don't do many game lines. I stick to player props mostly. Eventually I'll do more game lines, but yeah, it's one of the best ways to do it because you're going off of starting pitching. You don't have the other variables of the bullpen and what reliever is going to come in there. You know what starting pitch is in there. Framber Valdez, he's one of the best ground ball, probably the best ground ball pitcher in the entire league. Gets at like a 69% rate, and he's only given up a few fly balls this entire season. So yeah, I like that line there. All right.
I think
anything else?
I think that's it for me. No, I mean I think, and you know it too. It seems like you're able to get a decent amount of action still, but I'm having to. I think it's important for us to keep finding inefficiencies in the markets because player props, and I recommend to everyone, you bet player props until you can't, because you are not going to get especially listening to Grant, you're not going to get a more profitable like sports betting experience. You're just not going to. But for me, I struggle to get $100 per prop, so I'm having to go through these money line things, and I do think that that is currently one that I think is a pretty strong one for people to consider and to start dabbling in.
Yep, player props and boosts, 2 most profitable ways to make money in sports betting by a wide margin. But yeah, I think that's about it. All right, well, Jordan, thanks for joining me. We'll have you on again soon, guys. Good luck tonight. We are going to be on tomorrow at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern time because of the early baseball game. So I'll see you tomorrow morning. We're out.